Is this all of them?
Yes, second sister.
We seek a dangerous fugitive. This is no common anarchist, but a devotee of the treasonous Jedi Order. Failure to turn over this traitor will result in a charge of sedition. Turn yourself in, or everyone present shall face summary execution.
I think it's time someone came forward. I've been working on this heap a long time. Way before the war. We refit and rebuilt ships. Best in the galaxy. Then came the Empire. And engineers became scrappers. The workers, they just started getting worked.
Bro.
We all know the truth. We're just too afraid to say it. To the Empire, we're all just expendable.
Yes, you are.
No!
Look at this, a lightsaber.
You've never heard of the Millennium Falcon? Should I have? It's a ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Kessel Run Weekly. My name is Danny.
And I'm Cheyenne.
And welcome, guys. I know our shows have been a little irregular lately. We're making it through the holidays and surviving. But Cheyenne actually had a wonderful idea because we've been talking about this for a while and wanted to talk about it. Jedi Fallen Order, guys. So It's been out for, what, a little over a month at this point, I think?
At least.
Yeah, at least a little over a month at this point, if not a month itself. We both already finished the full story, which is pretty exciting. Yeah. Emotionally draining. But we wanted to kind of give you our reaction, so we're going to try to keep spoilers kind of to a minimum, because I get Christmas is coming. A lot of people are probably getting Jedi Fallen Order for Christmas and everything, so we don't want to ruin it for you. However, we want to give you our honest review as far as the gameplay goes, what we think about the story, and things like that. So we may mention some slight spoilery things, but I promise you main plots will be covered. Hidden.
Yeah.
Kept a secret. So yes. So I think we can go ahead. We can start off. Cheyenne, if you're ready.
I'm ready.
Sweet.
I'm so ready.
So Cheyenne, I'll let you actually start. So we're going to talk about gameplay first. This is kind of the first video game review we've ever done on the podcast. So this is cool. This is fun. But yeah, so gameplay wise, what did you think of it?
I loved it, but I'm gonna be honest, open and honest. First things first, I haven't played a lot of games on my Xbox before, and not necessarily not like playing. Like I play Assassin's Creed, I play Batman, Spyro, Lego games, and Battlefront 2. But all of those are like arcadey, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Feel like, right?
Kind of casual.
Then,
yeah.
Yeah, and then
I didn't mean to actually call you a casual, but that was not intentional. But yeah, kind of casual gameplay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not there yet, you know. I'm starting to stream, but like for things like JFO. Yeah. But so like everything's been very casual, and then the campaign in Battlefront 2 was my first campaign that I've ever played. Actually,
oh, really? Okay.
Now that I'm speaking it into existence, it's the campaign I've ever played. Yeah. So when I played Jedi Fallen Order, I was like, wow, yes, incredible. Wow. But with that being said, I was also just like nervous.
Okay.
I guess. Because the gameplay, when I was learning how to play throughout the story, I I was excited. And then as I kept going, I was like, okay, I know what I need to do here, but it's not working. Or I know what I need to do here, and it's the same thing that I did 10 minutes ago. So I was stuck somewhere between, this is really exciting because it's only my second story game that I've played, and it's different, and it's Star Wars, and the story itself was incredible, but the gameplay got pretty repetitive every now and then. Mm-hmm. So I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, 8.5 out of 10, because I'm always just really excited and happy to play Star Wars games.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hurt it too bad, but I also would say that for gaming people in the gaming community, it might be a little repetitive, maybe some boring sometimes. But
so what were some of your favorite elements of the gameplay that you enjoyed?
Does the lightsaber count?
I mean,
lightsaber was cool. I would say, okay, having BD1 as an accessory was awesome. Only because he played such a big part in the gameplay, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I just love that because then I'm not left to figure things out on my own.
He's there to give you the hints.
Yeah, he's there to help me. And then help me slide down thingies. Mm-hmm. Oh, God, what else? It was just so much fun. Okay. I love, would the maps be considered under the spectrum of gameplay?
Sure.
Okay, so the maps are probably one of my favorite parts because getting to travel from world to world is cool. But it's just not, you're on a mission, but you're not just dropped into the middle of that mission. You have to get there. Mm-hmm. And as frustrated as I was sometimes with that, I was like, why can't I just get back to the ship? just get back to the ship. Other times I was like, wow, this is cool. I have to literally look at all of this to get to where I need to be. Yeah. And I just won't know until I get there.
Yeah. I really did enjoy the exploration side of it, now that you mentioned it. For me, for the gameplay, I really enjoyed the combat. It was very different for me. I played Force Unleashed back on PlayStation 3, all that kind of stuff, with Starkiller and everything, and it was just a straight hack and slash carnage. Like, you could just button mash the heck out of it, and you're going to hit something. You're going to do something. There's very minimal strategy in any kind of combat situation, unless it was like a 1v1 kind of battle of a boss or something like that. You had to kind of time it a little bit, but even then, there was very little strategy. It was like, wait for him to throw the thing, and slash, 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 slash. Wait for him to throw it, and go, 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 and everything. So it was more like that. Whereas with Jedi Fallen Order, there is a lot of strategy that goes into it. I started playing it on Jedi Knight because I immediately so I'm streaming this live, and I'm being totally honest with you guys here. I'm streaming this live the morning of release and everything, and I'm so frustrated, trying to visibly keep my face from not showing my frustration on stream, because I was like, you know what, I will play the game on Jedi Knight, because it's literally the mode above story mode, so the mode above the easiest mode. So I was thinking, normal, I can handle that. Yeah. I'm a gamer, I can do that kind of thing. Even though I heard people comparing it to like Dark Souls and Sekiro and all these that are like really tough combat kind of things, very strategic combat, I was like, oh, I can do it. And literally got my butt handed to me so many times live on Twitch. And I'm sitting there going, like, there was one part where you go to Dathomir, and this was outside of the story stuff, because it's like at the very beginning, it gives you the choice between Dathomir and Zeffo. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do what they tell me to do. I'm going to go to Dathomir, which it's one of those, like, you decide to go off the beaten path. So it's like, oh, by the way, that combat zone is way above your level. You're going to die. So I got to Dathomir, and it took me 30 minutes to kill 4 things. 4 things. 30 minutes. Live on stream. My patience was so tested. I was like, and that's the thing is, I went back and watched that stream, and I'm sitting here going, man, you could see it on my face the whole time how frustrated I got with it, because like it's no joke. Because I kept trying to play it kind of because my play style in general with first-person shooters or anything like that, I'm usually the one that dies first because I'm kind of in your face, like pushing it and all that kind of stuff. And I tried to play that way. And the game said no multiple times. It did not work out for me in any way. So I ended up, because the whole time I'm sitting here going, I'm not going to be a wimp. I'm gonna go Jedi Knight. Literally, the second I signed off the stream, I changed it to story mode. I was like, I'm not doing this. I just want another story at this point. But the gameplay is very strategic. It's very in-depth and everything, as far as like the combat and all that kind of stuff, and how you can use a combination of your Force abilities. BD even ends up playing into that, which is really cool. And the lightsaber and everything, which I wore out the double blade the whole time. Wore that out, because the second I'd go single blade, I get my butt handed to me. So I'm like, you know what? Crowd clearing. Let's go. But it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it once I wasn't losing every 2 seconds. It became more enjoyable. I'd say the only thing that kind of bothered me with the gameplay, I guess it really wasn't more so gameplay, more than just the game, is especially on Kashyyyk. I think the first time around, it would freeze over and over again. Like you would have like these weird map textures or something like that, like these little like wall textures that would just make like the Wookiees even look like Cousin It. Like it was just the weirdest looking things, and it was just kind of like, really? Because it almost felt unfinished. Because Kashyyyk was what we got in the demo with EA and everything back at E3, I believe is what it was. That was what we got in the demo. So I'm sitting here expecting something really cool. The stuff that was in the demo was freezing, was really weirdly textured at times because it wouldn't load, or you'd be in the middle of an actual cutscene and it would be slowly just popping in random textures to where all of a sudden by the end of it, it may or may not look cool. Like there was one part, I think I was talking to Saul Guerrero or something like that, a scene between him and Cal, and like no joke, Saul Guerrero looked like something out of PlayStation 2 for a little bit, and I was like, what is this?
I don't know if I had that issue, to be honest with you, but I mean, like I was telling you earlier before we started recording, like a lot of it's blanked out of my head, so I could have blanked it out. But I don't know if I had that same issue, which it makes me curious as to why, you know. I don't know.
And so I was looking it up online and stuff like that to see if maybe it was just my Xbox, because I have like the Xbox One S. I don't have the X or anything like that. And I'm sitting here thinking, I was like, I mean, is there a problem with it or anything? Right. And I know that they recently put a patch out. I haven't played it since the patch. But it was something that I'd seen on some of the other Instagrammers that do the Star Wars stuff in the community, where they were saying that it was like some goofy map textures and stuff like that, and different things that would happen like that to them, and it would freeze at random times and all this other kind of stuff. And the only reason I remember is I was literally like by myself playing the game, and I just sit there and have to wait for like, and 15 to 20 seconds does not sound that long, but when you're in the middle of fighting a purge trooper, it's life or death. So it'd literally be like you'd be playing, and then all of a sudden some kind of random texture would try to load, and the whole thing would just stop. And then it would go back in, and about that time, the purge trooper's already made 2 hits on you, and that's it. So that was a frustrating part of it for me, but I mean, it didn't ruin it overall. Like, I mean, anybody I've talked to about the game, I really enjoyed it. Overall, it's a really, really good game, I think.
It really is. I like it a lot. I feel like every time I come from the perspective of like, oh, well, it's a Star Wars thing, of course I'm going to like it. I'm also like, okay, who cares? I like it, okay? Mm-hmm. You know? Like, I just do. It was so fun. Mm-hmm. Like, and that's part of the reason why I'm waiting to stream it is not only so that I have a webcam so that people can see my reaction, but like the longer it takes me to get this webcam, like if I just wait until the new year, the more reaction I'm going to have again. Yeah. Like, cause I remember what happened, but I also know myself.
It went by so fast. Yeah.
I've been watching Attack of the Clones today. You know how many new things I've seen? 5. You know how many times I've seen that movie? 500. So like, I know that it's going to be way better, especially when I am streaming and I'm, like, engaged with my audience.
It's the gift that keeps on giving. But, and you're right. I mean, in all honesty, to me, like, the story was great. I think...
Yeah.
I don't want to say it was what redeemed it, because it's not a bad game. I don't want that to come across like I think that in any way it was bad. It had that one fault, in all honesty. That was the only thing that I was just kind of like, ooh, like, really? It was kind of like, gross. But other than that, the gameplay was fun. The story was awesome. The things happened in the story that I did not see coming. And it makes me so upset that I didn't like record my initial reactions of it, because I've never hollered at a game. Like, I yelled, Cheyenne. Yelled. I was freaking out at multiple times, and I was just like, no way. I lost my mind. And I haven't had a game do that to me in years. Like, I think probably Force Unleashed was probably the last one that really did that to me. That and Kingdom Hearts. Those were the two that I was like really emotionally invested in and everything. And those, I remember those stories. And with this, like, I feel like I will remember that story because of all the twists and turns and reveals and the cool stuff that happened and everything. Like, the second sister, holy crap. Ooh, she's incredible.
Yeah.
Like, I want more of her. Now, I know that we're not going to get more of her, but I want more of her. So, but I mean, I guess now that we're venturing into the story territory, so let's go ahead and talk about it. So, your initial thoughts on the story.
Oh, God. Okay. I kind of have to run through the story in my head, which I've been doing all being like, okay, what do I remember? And then I'm like, also like, Cheyenne, you don't want to remember because you want a better reaction. I feel like favorite part of the story is, honestly, okay, this is going to be very, what's the right word? Cliche.
Okay.
Cal is my favorite part of the story. I feel like I've heard people say that he's their least favorite part, so stay tuned.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to find out why. He was my favorite part because I identified with him, question mark,
okay.
In a way of, like, survival, but finally, like, owning up to oneself. Does that make sense? Because he, and without ruining basically any plot line, this is mostly the beginning, so it shouldn't ruin anything. But, like, he went to Braca, right? First planet?
I think so. I'm really fuzzy on all the planets.
He went to Braca to be like not a scavenger, but he's putting things together for whoever, and just like surviving and doing his thing. But the moment that he is challenged, his will and his integrity is challenged, he's like, no. I know my roots. I'm coming for you.
Yep.
And he immediately jumps back into it, like back into being a Jedi. And he's just going with it, you know? Yeah. He's just going on this adventure. He's fighting for his life. And like I said earlier, I don't have much story gameplay experience. So my previous story had been Iden Versio, who already had an established place and role. And while we do see her evolution into the rebellion, she's also she's already there. You know what I mean? Whereas with Cal, we know that he has some form of a story, but we don't know where it's going to go, partially because we control that at that point. I think that had to be one of my favorite parts, just because, like I said, I could identify with him, and I like to see the growth, but I also, while I'm thinking about it, loved the flashbacks.
Oh, yes.
I think that added so much more to the story. Cool. And it made me care so much more about Cal, which helped a lot.
Oh, so. Most definitely. Because, I mean, you've got to kind of establish, because he literally you knew nothing about him. And so seeing him go through what he did, seeing that he blames himself for what happened to his master and stuff like that, and seeing actually what happened and everything, to see, okay, well, is there validity to him trying to blame himself? Like, what's going on? Like, that whole story, like, his story felt like, to me, like it was one, technically, it was kind of your cookie cutter Jedi Padawan Order 66 story. Yeah. So it reminded me a lot of Kanan, where he had to go through and Depa Billaba sacrificed herself to have him live, and he disappeared into society. Just kind of became a ghost to try to just live. And Cal did a lot of the same thing, except it was almost as if, I think the main difference between the two at the first is that Kanan disappeared and intended to stay a ghost, whereas Cal always was hopeful that the Order would return or something would happen. It was his responsibility to bring the Order back somehow. Yeah, and
that was one of my favorite things too.
Yeah,
about.
He was kind of reminded me of like the Robin to Batman kind of thing, where it's the starry-eyed young guy who's like, no, we have to do this. We have to bring it back and everything, where everybody else is like, dude, it's done. Like, it's just done. So
I feel like that was such, this is why I wanted to do this so badly too, because I was like, the more I talk about it with somebody who's done it and played it and things like that, I'm gonna come to the realizations of things. And like, that was one of my other favorite parts. It's that this wasn't about being light side or dark side.
It
was about Cal
as a person. Yeah.
Like, he was trying to help, I guess help the Jedi Order / help the Force, but that was it, is he was helping the Force. He wasn't helping Yoda or Emperor Palpatine.
Right.
He was helping the Force. And what he felt was right. He wasn't necessarily, he was on a side, but I don't know. It felt very like him, not.
Yeah. It was what he believed would save the galaxy, would bring down the Empire, would restore order for everything. Yeah.
Big picture, not.
Right. Nice. Which I love that took a turn later where, and not to spoil it, I'm trying to be vague with it, but basically in that moment where they're like, if you had never done this, would they be in danger? Kind of thing like that. And when they said that, I literally remember sitting there staring at the TV going, ooh, that's right. It's like, so here you are trying to play Indiana Jones, finding this artifact, all this other kind of stuff, and you've inadvertently brought the thing to destroy you down on your own head, essentially. Yeah. And I like that he came to that realization himself, because like I said, the whole thing is kind of like starry-eyed Superboy is going to go save the universe, is essentially what it plays out like. And he never stops to think, should you? It's always, how can I not? And everything.
And you know what gets me too is that in the end, when he does get to that point, he does stop and say, should you finally? Like, he finally gets to the should you question.
Yeah.
Because that's always the part that we miss. Just like you just said. Like, it's always even if it's not stopping in the middle and asking, once they get to the end, like, they're like, oh, well, I'm already here. Let's just keep going. But it's like, okay, well, now I'm here. Now what?
Exactly.
And I just love that was even an option.
Right. I thought that was really cool because it took the normal video game escalation and it was like, sweet, we got the thing. Now what? Now we have decisions to make. And I thought that was really cool for sure.
Yeah. I have a question for you about story, kind of. So with the planets involved, do you feel like it was enough or too much? If that makes sense. Like, do you think we should have had more things that we knew or more things that we didn't know?
To me, as far as the story goes, I felt like it fulfilled just enough. Okay. It left me with enough questions, but it wasn't anything where I was like left scratching my head at the end. Like, wait, what? Like, it took like you said, it was more about Cal's journey than anything. Because yes, we had our thing that we were going after. Yes, we met these people along the way. But what was cool is seeing, because even though it wasn't like a choice kind of game, I mean, it was very linear. This is what's happening. This is where the story is going, no matter what you choose. Yeah. At the same time, though, it made it to where you could see every single person that touched him changed him in some way. And I think that speaks to his character that he allowed that. Because at the very beginning, he really didn't know who he was. He knew he was Jedi Padawan on the run. But he was lost without his master. He blamed himself for the things that happened with his master and everything. And he was ridden with guilt and borderline fear and hatred toward the Empire because of what happened. But he held it together. It's one of those, but he persevered kind of thing. Yeah. He kept on and he kept trying. Because like one of my favorite scenes is in I'm not going to name the planet, but it's later on dealing with his lightsaber and everything. Okay. In that whole thing with him and BD, it's just that scene was probably the deepest lore thing for me of the entire game, where he literally had his own crisis, and rightfully so, because it wasn't like things didn't go your way. I'm so sorry. It was literally, I'm trying to do the right thing, but everything I keep doing keeps making it worse, and I don't know how to fix this. Maybe I'm not the one to fix it. And I felt that. I was like, I felt like I could relate to what he was feeling in that moment, and that made him more human and more of a real character to me than any other moment in the entire game. I thought that was awesome. I give credit to the storytelling on that, because you really felt for him. And then old BD being the buddy that he is, like, I love that. That literally made me fall in love with BD right then. I was like, you're the real MVP. You are.
He is I'm 3D printing that boy someday.
My dad's already got him 3D printed. We had pieces of, because he hasn't been put together yet, but we had pieces of him at the little Halloween display that we put up that I posted on our social media. But yeah, there was a little bitty like pieces of the droid everywhere because he hadn't been put together yet. But yeah, we're actually working on that because I want to hopefully someday have a Cal costume. I would love that because the way his costume is, it's just so simple and it looks comfy. And I'm like, cool, I can rock that. And then a droid on my shoulder, absolutely.
Yeah, I was gonna say, even if you didn't get his like basic under regular things, like his like,
I mean, I could go poncho and pants.
You could just poncho it up,
right?
That's all you need. I guess I should have mentioned this during gameplay, and now I'm gonna forget where I was going with this. So I'm gonna just be open and honest about it. I was listening to Force Center with Ken Knapsack and Joseph Scrimshaw. Mm-hmm. It was their review that I was listening to where I was like, I gotta do that. I gotta talk about it.
Yeah.
They were talking about Cal as his character and how he's essentially, I mean, not essentially, he's a good guy, right? Mm-hmm. He's a Jedi Padawan. He eventually makes it farther than that without spoiling a moment. And throughout all of this journey, he's just slashing things up everywhere you go. And I absolutely understand. Don't come for me, gamers. I get that that's part of the gameplay. That was so fun. I like slashing things away. But for storytelling wise, / canon things, how do you feel, or what did you think of the fact that like this Jedi, this good guy, had to just go around killing everybody?
I think I questioned it once because I was sitting here, but it was more of I'm in control of this character. I'm not very Jedi-like. That's exactly how I felt. I was like, I probably shouldn't have killed that guy who was standing with his back to me. That wasn't very Jedi-like. Or I shouldn't have force-pulled that guy onto my lightsaber, and he had no chance to defend himself. Nor did he taunt me.
My favorite thing is force.
Yeah. I used that move so much because I got tired of like the parrying and blocking and stuff like that. I would literally sneak up on him, get him, and just stab him and keep doing it over and over again. That was my move. Like I did that so much. As soon as he learned that, I was like, game on. That's where it's at.
I would like barrel roll over to the cliff, and then I would turn around and push him off the cliff.
There you go. I did that with the purge troopers so often.
Yeah, I was like, it saved me so much battle time.
Right? You don't have to worry about them.
Trick them and push them.
There you go. I did that with a group of like, I think 6 or 7 enemies one time. I was in some cave. I can't remember where it was at. But it was one that had been just giving me problems. And I went through it, and I tried to fight them. I tried to do the right thing and everything. And then just one time, it lined up perfectly where, for some reason, all of them were on the edge of the cliff. And I said, you know what? Screw it. Pushed them all off, including 2 purge troopers. All of them died, and I was like, see ya. And just kept going. I was like, I have had enough.
That's awesome. Yeah, that was probably one of the best parts. Speaking of this, I guess this is both story and gameplay. So, to get to that point where we can push 6 or 7 people off, you have to meditate and open your skill tree.
Yeah.
And I loved that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why, but I think it's because, like I said earlier, like I'm casual gaming, so like, but I'm so infatuated with the learn as you go sort of thing. And I love that I could meditate every 5 minutes. Don't worry about any of that.
I just need a minute.
Yeah, exactly. And then I could see and look if I could add some skills. And then I was like, oh, look, I can add this skill and not have to like do something crazy for it, you know?
And I thought it was really cool because like it almost gives a canon reason as to why he's progressing the way he is. Because the skill tree, it was you had to unlock through a memory, basically, because he had essentially cut himself off, or no, his connection to the Force was damaged. So it was kind of like Force PTSD kind of deal. Yes. Going through Order 66 and everything, he decided, I mean, he just didn't have the connection he did before. And it's almost like you fall off your bike, but you never got back on. And so you've really got to push yourself and really learn and everything. And I thought that was really cool. I loved how it came at random times too. Like I jumped off of something at one point. I was like, maybe I'll make this, maybe I won't. And literally like midair, it goes into a memory and I'm like, did I die?
Yeah. No.
It's like, what happened?
Exactly.
I think it happened the second time around on Kashyyyk or something. I literally was like, and I got to start over now. But but no, like I liked how it was him. There was a story reason to him unlocking those abilities, and then the skill tree was literally just him honing those abilities and basically training himself more of, let me see if I can push further and everything. I thought that was really cool because it wasn't just like, here's your skill tree, upgrade your stuff when you can, peace out. Because I think, and not knocking Force Unleashed, but that's essentially how that worked, where you would gain Force points or whatnot, and you would use said Force points or attribute points to either get like a lightsaber skill or Force skill or upgrade your stamina, whatnot, and everything. You would just find it and just do it. Whereas this, it was like you actually had to take a moment and meditate, because if you didn't meditate anyways, you didn't have the checkpoint. And you had to start over anyways, which sucked when you found that out for the first time.
Yep, same. It's funny because I've heard people say that they never figured that out. That they would get far in the game and then they would have to get thrown all the way back. And I'm like, you didn't save at one point or another, and then you didn't meditate at one point or another, and then find out that was a safe point, you know?
Yeah. Well, and I thought at first you could just run over the meditation point and it would count it. And it does not at all. I went through a lot of Dathomir thinking that was the case, and I died by a Night Brother and got thrown back to the beginning. I was so mad. That was a night where I literally turned it off and walked away. I was like, I can't. Yeah. I get that it's of my own making, but nope.
Ken Napzok said the same thing. He was like, I've walked away from this game, which I don't really do very often. And I thought that was cool because I've watched, Ken was one of the first people that I started watching on stream. Just for Battlefront 2 purposes. I was like, I don't know what's going on. I'm scared to play this game. I need to watch somebody play it and just enjoy it. And I haven't watched him play any of his JFO. I think he's streamed it. I don't know. But I want to see him. I want to see him play that because he explains that he got pretty frustrated with this one.
Yeah.
And that that's normal for him. So, and I got frustrated with it, but never to the point where I would just walk away. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the new gamer person in me. I have to figure it out. No real gamer would walk away from this when
Well, absolutely, yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, like, I mean, I don't normally get frustrated with games, and I mean, like, I'll have my moments where I'm like, man, that sucks. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, this is getting a little tiring. Let's try it again. Kind of things like that. With this one, like, especially when that happened, because I'd known how much I'd already put into it. And every single fight was nerve-wracking to me. My heart would be racing. I was engaged every single time because it's not a normal fight. Well, I take that back. It's not a normal video game fight. It literally is if you're the Jedi and you're the one trying to figure it out and everything.
You're the only one there.
Exactly. There's no one to help you. Well, BD. But, I mean, he throws little syringes at you. That's about all he can do at the moment. Or at least at first. But I mean, I'm just like, that was another thing. I saw a Twitch streamer that was going through Grandmaster with no stims. I was like, how? and the other part of it is, who are you being sweaty for? That's my thing. Like, why? I get, maybe that's just, you just want to do that. Cool. Yeah. But, like, that was my thing, is, like, I went from Jedi Knight and literally was like, this is going to take me too long to get through the story, and I know people are going to start spoiling it for me, so I need to get through this. So, story mode, here I come. And even then, story mode was not easy.
Remember, like, I'll be honest with you, because at one point, I remember, you know what? I don't know who I was fighting. It was my first battle with Second Sister.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, why is this so hard? And part of it was me. I hadn't learned enough yet from the game. Just like in general, I was just kind of like,
yeah.
But because I was nervous.
Oh yeah, you just end up spamming buttons for no reason. You're just hitting everything, hoping something works.
Exactly. I get this really horrible feeling. This is so stupid, but I'm gonna just call myself out on this. I get so nervous playing video games. It took me a long time to figure out why. Because I was like, it's a video game. Like, if I die, who cares? I'll respawn eventually, or I'll do this, or I'll do that, or I'll have to get something somewhere to play again. You know? No. My brain is like, you're going to die in real life if you don't suck. Your life is over. Like,
this is real life or death. You die in the game, you die in real life.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Cheyenne, it's not Jumanji, man. It's all good.
I'm so nervous. And I'm like, why do I feel like I'm gonna explode if I don't beat this? Oh my god.
That's too funny.
Oh, called myself out. Sorry. Oh my gosh.
I do want to say, as far as villains go, Second Sister, I mean, can we say her name, or do you think that'd be too spoilery?
I think we can say her name because they don't know who she is yet.
Yeah, so Second Sister Trilla, which that's about as far as I can go without spoiling her story, was freaking amazing.
Awesome.
Her mocap artist, voiceover actress, all that, like, I mean, everything about that character terrified me. And
she was
yeah, and that's the thing, is, like, I didn't know whether or not I should ever trust her at some point. But there were times where I was going, you know what, you're making a lot of sense.
Yeah. Same. Wait a minute. Am I about to, like, and this is where I was like, I'm glad it was just Cal's story, because I was like, am I about to turn on the dark side?
Right? I wondered at one point, because I felt like we were starting to get to that, and I was like, are we going to learn dark side powers? Like, are we doing this?
Yep.
What's happening here? Because, like, at one point, I mean, you go into a Sith temple. I mean, it's intense. So, I legit thought at one point that we might have a choice of going dark or not. And I thought that was really interesting. And it's really cool that the whole story kind of deals with the humanity of it. Because you see Cal lose control sometimes and everything. And not necessarily, like, to the point where he's shooting lightning from his fingers or anything.
Right.
But there is a character that did lose control. And did do things like that, and we deal with the humanity of that they're going across, kind of dealing with the consequences of their actions, and kind of questioning who they are and everything. which I think is really cool because it kind of puts it in a more humane aspect rather than the light or the dark. You're with me or against me kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because only Sith deal in absolute. So, but I think it's really cool, and I've seen it a lot more in the what a lot of people call the Disney era of Star Wars and everything, where it's not so clear cut anymore. It's not so Rebels versus the Empire, light versus the dark, Jedi versus the Sith. There's a gray line, and not all the time does somebody fall into the cookie cutter. And I think that that's really cool that they kind of did that with these characters, whereas you have the starry-eyed Jedi Padawan, and you have the person who has kind of a checkered past, and you're not really sure whether or not you should trust him or not. And then you have the villain who really just messes with your head, where it's like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
Because, like, I like villains like that. I've never really been a fan of the overly comical arch nemesis, like I hate everything and everything should die, ha 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 ha, or whatever. I mean, like it's comic booky and it's fine. I like comics,
right?
But at the same time, when you're telling a human story, it's cooler to actually see that battle of humanity and that struggle, even within the villain. Which is why I like Loki and Thanos going from the MCU. They're one of my favorite villains, is because they kind of play the line. Like Thanos, you listen to him long enough, he starts to make sense. But you're like, no, that's not the way you fix it. And like all of a sudden, common sense pops back into you, and your actual humanity is like, whoa, 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 that's fine and all, and that is a problem. But that is not how we fix it. We do not kill half the universe. Yeah, but if you listen to him long enough, he's just kind of like, well, I got a solution. Nobody wanted to do anything about it, so I did. And he believes he's right. And that's the scariest kind of villain, is the ones who believe they're right. Yeah. And they believe their own truth to the point where they'll carry it out at whatever cost. And I feel like we got this in Trilla, and it's displayed just beautifully and perfectly. Yeah. Like, no joke, one of my favorite characters in the game.
Yeah, I like that we got it from her for such deeper reasons, too, which we can't explain, but you will find out when you play, because, wow. Yes. I also think they did also kind of show that, too, with Ninth Sister. Yes. Because Ninth Sister is just like, I'm the muscle.
Yep.
What's up? Bring it on, you know?
She was the we have a Hulk. Literally was the Hulk.
Wow. Incredible.
That fight was intense too.
Speaking of, I don't want to say dark, I guess Dark Shine works. I would like to bring up Marin.
I love Marin.
Because she's a queen.
Yes.
Among us all. I was very nervous. She's another one of those moments where I thought I was going to die in real life. I was like, oh my God, what is she about to unleash on me?
With her throwing all the things at you on Dathomir and stuff like that. Getting all those Clone Wars references and all the stuff like that. God, literally, the Dathomir part of the story was my favorite. I loved it so much.
I'm struggling because I feel like it was because I got Marin and because there was so much lore on the planet. But I'm also like, man, I had to fight so much on that planet.
That planet was a fight. Like, that was a struggle.
Time. You are not once just run. I mean, kind of, but like, you're not once just running.
No, it makes you question if there's ever dead time at all. That's pun intended. If there's ever dead time or anything not happening at any point, you're looking around going, what's about to jump out at me? And when am I going to die? Because that's what it's just so intense on that planet.
I think I texted you one day because I was like, oh, I'm going to game. And then I was like, no, I'm not. I'm by myself and it's dark out. And I was adapting it. So I was like, I'm not going to do that. You know who knows Star Wars is fake? Me. You know who's still not going to game on Dathomir in the middle of the night? Also me. I was scared. I was like, no.
Because we know better than anyone what's on Dathomir.
Yeah, exactly. Do I want to cosplay as Marin? Yes. Am I still scared of her? Yes.
Right.
What am I going to do about it? Nothing.
Yep. Well, and I love how they presented her kind of as a villain and everything, but the growth, even with that character, was just really cool. And I love that she ends up being the one that challenges the morality a lot. Of, all right, why don't you think about what you're doing? Like, she's almost kind of like, you know what? I'm new to this. Just coming in, fresh off of this. Yeah. But what if? And I love that about her character. I wish that we had gotten more. I was satisfied with what we got, but because I liked her character so much, I wanted more. And I hope to see more of her character, because that was another one that was executed just flawlessly.
You know what I wonder? And I've been thinking about this, and I know we'll get to the talk of a possible sequel eventually in the podcast, but I wonder if there's going to be any off games of it, if that makes sense. So multiplayer, or not even multiplayer, but multiplayer of like Marin and her posse. Not spoiling the game.
Yeah. Trying not to anyways.
Huh?
I said trying not to anyways.
Yeah, I know. Like if there would be multiplayer of those times, you know? Mm-hmm. Whether that be on Dathomir or after Dathomir. Do you get what I'm saying?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay. But I think it would be
buddy team ups.
Yeah. Some good buddy team ups would be really fun with Marin and others. I just
happy, fun, scary times with Marin.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. I was as you were talking about her character and just in general, like her story and her perspective to Cal and of Cal. That would be really cool for us to be able to dive into that more from her perspective, mm-hmm. without it being like its own whole thing, you know? Yeah. It would be a part of the story somehow.
That would be really cool. I did hear of rumors of sequels. There hasn't been anything official come out, but the way that they titled the game, because it's Star Wars Jedi, and then this game is called Fallen Order. So it's Star Wars Jedi series is what it's intended to be. Now that all depends on how well this does, obviously. But I think there's intention to go further than just Fallen Order.
Right. I would love that.
Which would be awesome. I'd be definitely down with that. Because I agree with you. I'd like to see more from Marin's perspective. I just like how literally she was able to just come in and just had the insight. Kind of like, okay, great heroes. However,
and for a moment too, for the first interaction, I was like, okay, bad guy, and then I was just like, okay, she's got a good point, and then I was like, okay, but she also needs to see it from Cal's perspective, mm-hmm. and then things that happened.
But I mean, from being the last Night Sister standing, I mean, who would have a better perspective of the last Jedi Padawan, you know?
Right, exactly. So,
like, if anybody understands Cal, she understands Cal in a really strange, dark way. But but yeah.
Okay, so speaking of the sequels, what do you think would happen? Do you think it'd be a direct sequel, or what?
I don't know, because that would be the thing. Is so this takes place 5 years after Order 66.
Yes.
So, I mean, we'd have plenty of time to really explore, but do we want to have Cal join the rebellion, all that kind of stuff? Like, right. We could do that. It would be cool to see maybe the syndicates and stuff in there, like Black Sun, maybe even get Maul, because he would be alive during this time as well. So
I don't want to fight him.
Do what?
I don't want to fight him.
I could just see you just walking up to him and be like, Maul, and then every time he just chops you up.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry.
I'm okay with it. How many times have you died to Maul? Oh, only 200,000. Not a big deal. Oh, 200,001.
1,
3, 4.
Yeah. As he chops me, it counts.
Yep.
Yep.
I think that would be a cool thing too, because I mean, like we now with Solo have kind of an uncharted time of Maul's reign with criminal syndicates. With Black Sun, with Crimson Dawn, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, that could be something, because we did touch, in the game, it does touch a little on the underworld, with Grease and his gambling habits. So,
yeah, that's fair. Did they mention Canto Bite in there? He did, didn't he?
I think he did. I'm not 100% sure.
funny stuff.
But yeah, I think it would be really cool to see something kind of along those lines, because that's the thing is, so after this mission and the way it went, what's next for Cal? You know, like what else would a Jedi? I'm not going to say that. Jedi Padawan. What else would he go around the galaxy and do? Like, what would be that purpose? Well, maybe he ends up being one of the Fulcrums.
The next goal, you know? Yeah.
What if he becomes a Fulcrum agent?
Ooh, that'd be cool.
So yeah.
Also, I was going to mention that earlier too. I was like, how? Because you said the gray line, and I was just like, oh, Ahsoka Tano. Do you think that we will ever get a video game where we can play as Ahsoka? That's a very offhanded question.
There was rumor of it coming to Battlefront 2 at one point. People were claiming that they saw, or that they data mined voice lines of her and Padme, but we're past the Clone Wars season at this point, because like they had their whole Clone Wars push of everything, and now we're into Rise of Skywalker. So unless Ahsoka Tano is somehow in Rise of Skywalker, I highly doubt that that's going to happen. So
yeah.
So I really doubt that she is, but I mean, we don't know how to grew to age, so.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah. I don't think we'll ever see her in a live action in the next, 5 years. That probably, in the future, maybe, but, next 5 years, I don't think so.
I think Mandalorian's really kind of paving the way for new things that we thought were not possible before.
Right.
I'll leave it at that without spoiling the Mandalorian, but yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah. Sorry, that's a TikTok meme.
Thanks.
So
now it's stuck in my head again.
Yeah. You know it?
Do what?
You know the song?
I do know the Baby Yoda song.
Yeah. My roommate will just sing it at random times of the day, and then yeah. Same. Oh, man. Okay, I mean, I think I rated the game earlier, but yeah, out of 1 out of 10, I would say 8.5, 9, because I'm a cheesy gamer, but cheesy casual.
I mean, gamer. I would agree with you. Probably about an 8.5 to 9 for me. Yeah. I'll because of how cool the story is and how excited I got about that, I would give it a 9 out of 10.
Right.
Just because I thought the story was very well done, even though there were moments with it where it was just kind of like, what next?
Yeah.
Kind of like, wait, what? But I really enjoyed the gameplay. I like the puzzle features and stuff like that. Kind of reminded me of God of War, Tomb Raider, kind of where you go in and it's after hacking and slashing, everybody loves a good puzzle at the end of the day, kind of thing.
You know what I forgot to mention? I don't think this spoils really anything, but don't forget to plant your seeds, friends that have played Jedi.
I only have 2 seeds right now.
I have quite a few, and I want to check on those. At the end of the game.
There you go.
Ooh, I've got so much exploring to do. I need to get all of the planets to 100%, and I just, like I said, I'm avoiding playing it until further.
Well, and I guess again, without spoiling it, the ending of it is just emotionally exhausting. It's insane. It's so great because I did not see it coming. When it happened, I lost my mind. It was, for me, it was Rogue One level. Vader ending up in the hallway, it was that kind of level for me where I lost it. I just, it was insane. It was incredible. And I love the ending of it. Yeah. Yeah. It was awesome.
That was another moment where I was like, I'm going to lose my life.
So many times.
Yeah. I was just like, what do I do? You know?
Yeah.
I think I was in such a state of shock and excitement and terror that I froze, and I was like, oh, I have to keep playing. Yeah. I have to keep going, or end of game for Cheyenne Hoover.
Yep.
So I was, yeah, that was a lot. If you're listening and you haven't seen spoilers already, avoid at all costs, because you do not want to.
Yes. I noticed that the other day, I was watching a YouTube video and they spoiled that character that shows up at the end. And I was like, that's messed up, because that was one of the biggest moments for me. Not knowing that, lost my mind. Like, I was cheering, I was yelling, I was screaming, it was incredible. And then on top of that, so Kristen had only kind of seen me play a little bit. Like, these kind of games are not really her style. She likes, like, the massive multiplayer and all that. Right. She really doesn't play a whole lot of story stuff. Spyro is probably the closest that she's gotten on that. And so, like, she was going through watching it with me, and, like, I was literally about to turn it off at the last time. I didn't know it was the end. And I was like, okay, well, she just got home from work. We'll go ahead and we'll hang out. She literally looks at me. She goes, but what if it's the end? And I was like, do you want to watch it? She goes, kinda. So we were literally going through and playing it and everything. She's watching me play. And then it gets to that part, she's only seen one other scene in the entire thing, lost her mind in the end. Like, she was freaking out, screaming. Like, it was so great. It was so great.
Yeah, I was home alone when that happened, so I really want my roommates to watch it. So I'm taking my Xbox with me when my mom is recovering so that she can play. Yeah. My mom is very sorry, man. I was very bad at video games. I was trying to keep her Battlefront. Like, we got the Xbox last Black Friday. We got Battlefront with it. It came as the package. He could not get, what is it, ID10 down the hallway. Yeah. And I was just like, Mom, stop going down when you need to go up. And so I'm just like, I don't know how she's going to ever make it through Jedi Fallen Order. I will work on it with her. Other reasons that I wish things like this were multiplayer. Yeah. But yeah, I want her to watch me play that game all over again. She needs to see everything that happens in that game, which she'll want to watch it before she tries to play it anyways. So,
I love it. It's one of my favorite games. I can't wait to really dive back into it and try to 100% it. I think it'll be a lot of fun, for sure. So overall, I would imagine you recommend this game.
Absolutely. Highly, highly recommend.
Yes, definitely. The story is incredible. Gameplay is a lot of fun. If you can overlook some of the weird stuff that happens, which I would imagine they probably fixed with the patch, to be honest with you. I mean, being opening day kind of stuff, like launch day, there's always weird stuff that happens with the games. So maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was just a launch bug. But yeah, so if you haven't already gotten this game or are on the fence of wanting to play it or not, definitely do it. Highly recommend it. Let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Kessel Run Weekly, and as well as our website, KesselRunWeekly.com, or you can pester Cheyenne at CJerica95 on Twitter and at CJerica on Instagram.
Yes. Don't forget to keep an eye out for my Twitch, which is also CJerica. I will, as soon as I get my webcam set up in January, I will stream Jedi Fallen Order so that you all can see my real-time reactions, because they're probably going to be the same. So tune in on to the Twitch stream for that, and I believe the Kessel Run Twitch page is also a host for me, so you can just stay.
Yeah. So if you go to twitch.tv/KesselRunWeekly, anytime Cheyenne is streaming, she's streaming there as well. So yeah, and then we stream every week as well. Trying to get some more times, but that's not going to happen until after the holidays. We were just having a full-on conversation before we recorded about how dead we are now. So
the holidays will ruin a person.
Yes.
In the best and the worst ways possible. You never know.
But yeah, so please remember, be kind to everyone this season. You never know who needs it, and you guys are awesome. We appreciate you listening to us week over week, being patient with us in our irregular schedule right now. If you haven't already watched it, we have the holiday special out on, I'm hoping by this time, YouTube. I'm predicting the future at this point. Hopefully out on YouTube. Worst case scenario, it'll be on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Kessel Run Weekly. I got a random list out of nowhere just then. Twitch.tv/Kessel Run Weekly. And it'll be up there. I imagine it's going to be awesome. So, yeah. Check it out. But yeah, Cheyenne, did you have anything else you wanted to add before we dip?
That's it. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for having me, Danny. And I'm excited to see what 2020 will bring for Kessel Run Weekly.
Absolutely. Very excited. Very excited. So, guys, thanks again. And until next time, have a happy holiday, and may the Force be with you.
Always.